the complete recording studio equipment list. Regardless of whether you are a complete beginner or have a decent home studio for a while now, the same question always remains somewhere in the back of your mind. What's next? Because when you see all those amazing pictures of professional studios online and compare that to where you are now, it's natural that you want one piece of the puzzle to take you a step closer to where you want to be someday. Which is why in today's post, the goal is to help you find the next step. And we will achieve it by covering a list of 33 items that you can finally add to your studio from beginners to advanced. But first, let's define exactly which level you are at right now. 4 stages of growth. Starting from day 1. Studios go through 4 major stages in their development. Bedroom studio, usually a small setup next to your bed, the absolute minimum you need to record audio on your computer. Dedicated home studio, this is typically a room in your home used only for recording, including studio furniture and acoustic treatment. Semi-pro studio, which can be in your home or at different location, and usually includes the equipment needed to record several musicians simultaneously. Pro studio, usually located in a commercial facility, and includes any tools necessary to achieve professional results in the most effective way. Next, I'll show you exactly what is needed in each of these 4 stages. If you are still here, let's continue. Stage 1, the bedroom studio. While beginners always have that natural desire to want to learn everything right away, the truth is, you really only need a few items to get started. And anything more will probably just confuse you. So if you don't have a studio yet, a simple bedroom studio is the first milestone to aim for. And for a setup like this, you need the following 9 items. Computer, DAW, audio interface, microphones, headphones, studio monitors, cables, microphone stands, pop filter. Now let's look at each one in more detail. 1. Computer. These days, since recording studios are almost all digital, the first thing you obviously need is a computer. And while you can just use any old computer, at first, you should eventually invest in the best one you can afford. Because today's DAWs can be extremely hard on processing resources, and making full use of its features requires a blazing fast computer. So when you're ready to upgrade, here is what I recommend. The best computers, laptops for music production. Classic example: MacBook Pro. 2. Digital Audio Workstation, DAW. The Digital Audio Workstation is the primary software used to record, edit, and mix music on your computer. Originally designed to mimic look and feel of analog mixing boards from the pre-digital era, their visual design has remained basically the same ever since. Pro Tools, which has long been the most famous DAW, great for studios of all levels. But it is by no means the only option. Depending on your budget and style of music, the best one for you could be any one of around 10 possible options. Classic example: Avid Pro Tools. 3. Audio interface. Once you've got the software, the next thing you'll need is an audio interface, which has the primary purpose of providing all the necessary connections to send your music into the computer when recording, and out the computer during playback. Originally, this was pretty much all they did. But today's modern interfaces have evolved into incorporate many other features as well. Those include digital conversion, mic preamps, DI boxes, headphone amps, monitor management, In Pro Studios, each of these items normally exist as high-end standalone units, organized within a rack. In home studios though, these all-in-one budget interfaces can be a great way to save money, and still get exactly what you need. Classic example. Focusrite Scarlett 2i4. 4. Microphones. The oldest item on this list by far. Microphones have been around since long before recording studios ever existed. Yet ironically, in all those years, very little about them has changed. And many of the top models from a half-century ago are still among the industry standards of today. That's not to say that microphones are a simple topic, because it's actually quite the opposite. Recording studios typically carry several dozen mics or more, each one used to achieve a different sound from different instruments in different situations. And in the following post, I give you the complete rundown on everything you should know about the topic. The Beginner's Guide to Recording Studio Microphones. Classic examples. Dynamic mic. Shure SM57. Large diaphragm condenser. Rode NT1A. Small diaphragm condenser. 5. Headphones. Unlike most studio gear, headphones are one item that we're all thoroughly familiar with. At least, that's what most people assume. But truth is, while you may own a great pair of consumer headphones, for pro audio, there are two special types of studio headphones intended for two very specific tasks. Closed back headphones. Open back headphones. Classic example. Sennheiser HD 280. 6. Studio monitors. In the pro audio world, we call them either studio monitors, or near-field monitors. And while they might look similar to plain old speakers, they're not. Compared to consumer speakers, which typically accentuate certain frequency bands in order to improve the listening experience for certain audiences, studio monitors are designed with the opposite goal of providing a perfectly flat frequency response, so engineers can hear the mix as it truly is, flaws and all, so they can adjust accordingly. In pro studios, these monitors can often cost 10 grand or more. Classic example. KRK Rocket 5G3. 7. Cables. In a typical pro studio, you're likely to find hundreds of cables, with dozens of connectors that you've probably never even heard of. And the time will come when you own more cables than you can count. The good news is, in the beginning, all you need is 3, 1 XLR cable to connect a mic to your audio interface, and 2 more to connect the interface to your monitors. Classic example. Mahogany silver. 8. Microphone stands. The same concept applies with microphone stands as with studio cables. Eventually you'll have many, but for now, all you need is 1 or 2. And while you might assume that all stands are pretty much the same, they actually come in many shapes and sizes, each designed for specific tasks. Classic example. Drive Pro Boom. 9. Pop filter. For some strange reason, all newbies seem to want one, and most probably don't even know what they're for. So let me explain. One peculiar fact about your mouth is that it expels a strong burst of air whenever you pronounce P or B sounds. In normal conversation, you don't even notice it. But when singing into a microphone, that blast of air is heard as a low-frequency thump known as popping, which is both unpleasant to the ears and unacceptable on a recording. Pop filters are designed to solve this problem by catching the blast of air before it hits the diaphragm of the mic. Classic example. Stedman ProScreen XL. Now at this point, We are done with the subscribe to the page.